Welcome back to my workshop. Today I'm so excited to take you behind the scenes and show you my brand new sock yarn. It's a DK and it's called Riverside. This is the first video of two of how I'm going to prepare this yarn for the shop. We're going to make swatches. This yarn has been sitting around for some time in my pipeline. It's been dyed up and it's just been waiting for me to do the final touches to make it ready for the shop. The first thing is that I'm needing to cake up one skein. It's 50 gram skeins. But I need to cake it up so I can make swatches, and it's quite an exciting part of the work with the yarn because it's here I get a good feeling. Well, I do have some ideas before, but it's here I get a feeling of how is the yarn going to behave, how is the colors going to behave, how is the pooling of the colors going to behave in this yarn. Of course I have a plan when I start dyeing the yarn, but small surprises always turn up. I have my wooden winder, my yarn winder. I love this, it's a beautiful tool. I use it all the time. And please excuse my mess. It is the workshop, so it's messy. I work here. And then my yarn winder. And let's just cake this up and see how it looks. Here we are, the cake. I'm quite happy. There's a shift of light and blue. It's a quite dusty blue. And now for making the swatches. I always make a crochet swatch and a knitted swatch, and I bring them along to the markets I go to. My customers like it because it gives them an idea of how the color pooling is in the yarn. Of course, you can't be certain because everything depends on how many stitches you have, so it can change depending on the amount of stitches, but it does give some idea. I usually make quite a simple granny square for my crochet swatches. And don't worry, I've speeded up the video a bit here. I'm not that fast. I only wish. Oh, and almost forgot to tell you who I am. My name is Gitte. I live in Aarhus, the second largest city in Denmark. I have a small shop called Runja Crafts, and I hand dye yarn. I make buttons and stitch markers, and I also sew a few things you can use for your yarn projects, like DPN cozies and scissor cozies and small pouches to have all your stuff in. And I sell online on my homepage and go to markets. And in my videos I take you behind the scenes so you can get a small feeling of the work that goes with having such a small shop. And this is a new yarn I dyed some time ago. I usually take a whole day of dyeing, and then there's at least the same amount of time is going to be spent on preparing the yarn and making swatches and taking photos and making the listings, and so it's quite time consuming, but I do love it. I'm not full-time, sadly. The rent is paid by my full-time job. I'm a school teacher here in Aarhus. This yarn is beautiful, soft yarn. It's quite ordinary soft yarn in that way that it's 25% nylon and 75% merino, and then it's a DK weight, so it's a bit thicker than the fingering. So if you use this for sock knitting, and I do love sock knitting myself, you can use a bit larger size of needle and they'll just fly off your needles. You'll be done so fast. Here I'm going to take product photos of the swatching. Somehow it always looks nicer if I take photos before they're complete. Somehow it just works better if it's a whip. And as you can see, I always use a few props. It varies which I'm going to use, but I also always use a few props. I just found this small box. It's a metal box with a teacup, and it has this beautiful blue color I thought could somehow play nicely with the blue colors in the yarn. And then I have these flowers and leaves, artificial, so I can use them again and again. And I have these light blue, so it's almost the same colors as in the yarn. And then the whips, before they're quite finished, I try to arrange them and so they look nice, and take those product photos that later will go on the website. And as you could see, the pooling was quite nice. I like that kind of pooling, but it varies. And now we are going to wind up the tiny skeins. I always use the rest of that skein that I've used for swatching to make tiny skeins. And I use those as small gifts for my customers. So when you buy something from me, you'll get a tiny skein with the order. If you watch my Pack With Me videos, you'll see that I always pack a small present for my customer with a tiny skein and a stitch marker. And here I've upgraded my setup. To start with, if you see one of my first videos, my first Workshop Diaries, where I'm preparing another yarn, I'm winding the tiny skeins by hand. Now I've bought a small machine to help me. It's a winder. It counts how many times it winds, and then I can calculate by knowing how big the spool are, how many times I'm going to turn to have exactly what I need. And I do have my own weight, and then I'll just weigh to make sure that it is as I want to. These tiny skeins I want to be 5 grams each. so it's not that much. And these are cardboard spools I'm putting on there. The plan is that I'm going to use this machine for some special yarn I found. I found some dead stock yarn from the Italian fashion industry. I've bought a few cones. Those are on cones because they were meant to be for knitting machines, very big knitting machines in the Italian fashion industry. So it's not in skeins, but I need the yarn to be in skeins to be able to dye it and sell it. It's nicer to get a skein. So that was actually what I bought the machine for. But then I realized I could use it for this purpose as well. And it's much quicker when I know exactly how many turns I need to have to make 5 grams. And I do have plans of using this machine to make mini skeins as well. You know, the ordinary 20 grams skeins. That's the plan. It'll take some time to get there, but that's okay. And then I can make mini skeins at 20 grams in more special yarns, not only sock yarn, but in special yarns as well. So you can get that small amount for your color work or for an edge of a project, or if you know Stephen West shawls, you don't always need to have 50 or 100 grams of one kind of yarn, but you need a smaller amount, and then you can buy that small amount and get that special hand-dyed yarn for exactly that project. So that's the plan. And now we'll see how long it takes before I get to it, before it's ready. It always takes some time to get through the work schedule. But as you can see, it's quite quick making those 5 grams. Well, it's not done on the spool, but it's quite easy and quick to measure up 5 grams. Yeah, I speeded up the video a bit here so it doesn't take that long. And as you see, I just wind it once or twice, and then I calculated how many times I needed to turn the handle to make 5 grams on the spool. The last one wasn't quite enough, so I'm going to make that for myself. But that was the machine, and now I'll put that away, and then we need to use this. I'm going to put the spools on this and then wind the yarn to make skeins, tiny skeins of 4 or 5 grams. And here it's not that professional perhaps, But I have this book I've used because it has a good size, and I'll just wind the yarn around there, and then I can twist it, and I have a tiny skein. And this yarn is actually beautiful for it. It turns out a bit different. The color behaves a bit different when it's turned in this tiny skein. And by the way, it's a very good book. I love this book. I got it for Christmas one year from my daughter. It's a book about important women through history in Denmark who made a difference, so we don't forget that we have women as well. Sometimes women is a bit overlooked in history. And then it's just to wind up all the spools and twisting. I have these 2 hooks on the drawer of my desk, and they help me to wind skeins. I don't have a skein winder. Actually, I think I saw that the company who makes the skein winder has closed. So I'm not sure if you can get any more of them. If you know if you can get the skein winder, you know, the machine, please let me know in the comment, because I could make use of one. Or if you have a skein winder you don't use that I could buy from you, please let me know. Because when I look it up, it seems like the company has closed up, sadly. Yeah, well, sometimes it gets a bit tight, and I have 10 thumbs in there, so it's not that easy. But it usually turns out okay. Now we've come to the part where I need to put a band around the bigger skeins, and they need to have a label on them with the info about the yarn, which fibers are in there, how much yarn are you getting, what dye pot is it, and so on. So I make labels for that, and then I have these bands. At one point, when there's room for it in the comic of this small business I have, I need to make those printed for me. Right now I print them myself, and these are 50 gram skeins. So the band needs to be quite tight. And then I have this. This is an upgrade as well. If you look back at the previous videos, you can see that I am gluing my bands on. Now I found this small thing that somehow clips in the cardboard and turn it around, so it's the cardboard itself that holds it all together. So I clips them together, and then I put on the label. It's starting to look like something that could be sold. And now I'm just going to do that to all the skeins. The difficult part is to get it aligned so it's not too crooked. Yeah, I put that one aside because it wasn't twisted the way I wanted it to be. So I put that one aside. I always, when I take product photos, unravel one of them so you can see the yarn when it's not twisted up. I think it shows the yarn in another way, and I want to show the yarn in every possible way. Yeah, well, that sticker went on quite skewed, so and the last one. And then I want to say thank you so much for watching, and please see part 2. We're going to price tag all of the yarn. So thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. It will mean a lot to me. Bye.